Rutherford County Regional Planning Commission. If you would stand with us, please, for our prayer and our pledge. Bow with us. Our Father in heaven, Lord, we're so thankful for this day. We're thankful to live in a community that has an abundant life to offer, as Rutherford County does. Thank you for this commission. Thank you for the work that we do, and allow us to continue that work as we make decisions that we feel are in the best interest of the citizens of this county. Lord, we thank you so much as we go through this Memorial Day. We thank you for those who have laid down their lives to protect us and to protect this community. We thank you for their lives and what they mean for us. I also thank you for our men and women who are still serving overseas. Be with them, bring them home soon. I ask it, all of this in the name of our Savior and your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Call a roll, please, Gal.
Charlotte P.
Here.
Chip Pinion.
Here.
Craig Lynch.
Here.
David Jones.
Here.
Jim Averwater.
Here.
Lee Bogle.
Here.
Mike Cush.
I made it.
Mike Bott.
It's always that one guy.
Pettis Reed. Rhonda Allen.
Here.
And Jeff Phillips.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Gal. We have one item that has been withdrawn. That's item 6A1 19-1001, the preliminary plan for Smotherman Estates. 6A2, this item is also submitted for preliminary plan approval. 19-1007, Smith Farms, 182 lots on 82 acres zoned PUD located along Blackman Road. Goodall Homes is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and good morning, Commissioners. Hope everybody's doing well this morning and had a good weekend. This property, you will recall, was zoned planned development by the Board of Commissioners back in April of this year. Staff, since that time, has approved a modification to this planned development as provided by Chapter 9 of the zoning ordinance. Those modifications, after we looked at them, did not rise to the level of what would be considered a major modification. The changes resulted in a reduction of 14 lots and an increase in the amount of open space. You can see that the layout of the subdivision is pretty much the same. There are still two access points to the south. There's still the existing, the one proposed to the north. There's still the existing one back into Heatherwood. Really what they did, and the applicant can speak more on this, they provided a little more open space, a little larger areas for the detention, and kind of made as you can see, it's all kind of interconnected through here, kind of a focal point in this area, and then all the way through here to this formal open space in the back. You can see right here where these roads go right in. You can see they can see right into the open space. When they met with us, we looked at that, and like I said, the layout of the subdivision really hasn't changed much. It's just they did lose a few lots, so we didn't feel it rose to the level of having to go back through the process. There are guidelines in the zoning ordinance as far as what is considered a major modification and what is not, and staff determined this didn't really rise to that. Again, decreased lots and increased open space. So staff really feels that this is an improved design over what was originally submitted. With that, there were several issues that we identified during the initial review. Those items have been addressed. They have also submitted a site plan for the mail kiosk, which will be right in this area. The site plan does have a few tweaks that need to be made, but those will be taken care of during the construction review phase as far as the grading and the drainage and everything. But this plan, those comments have been addressed. This plan is in good order, so we'd recommend approval. And the applicant is present if you have questions.
Doug, what's the heavy white dashed line? What's that outlining?
These are phase lines, phase 1 to phase 2, and then phase 3 to,
Okay.
yeah, right.
I assume that stub out at western property line with bulb, the cul-de-sac bulb out there.
Oh, this is the northern line right here, actually. North is going up toward
north.
this, yeah, that's northern.
Yeah, north.
Yes.
That bulb, how's that gonna be handled?
It's gonna be a long-term temporary cul-de-sac. Because it exceeds the 150 feet rule, we've gotta have something there, and since that's the end of the development, we'll need a way for service vehicles to turn around.
Okay. I didn't know if there's a subdivision that builds to the north.
Right. It could be removed, it could be removed, yes, yes.
What caused the loss of the lots? Was it drainage?
Yeah, I think that was a lot of it, was increasing the amount of open space for the drainage and detention areas. But like I said, that we do have representatives here from Reagan Smith if you had more detailed questions than
Most
that.
people just don't generally give up 14 lots, so I was just curious.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to staff comments.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 19-1007 for Smith Farms. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6B, these are items submitted for final plat approval. 6B1, 14-2067, W.R. Thompson, one lot on 19.4 acres, zoned CS and RM, located along West Jefferson Pike. W.R. Thompson is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, sir, thank you. The applicant plans to combine these parcels to construct a mini warehouse facility in the commercial services portion of the lot. You can see that there's a zone line right here. This is all residentially zoned property. In this area, this is the commercially zoned property. You'll recall we did see a site plan for this. Actually, we've seen it a number of times, but most recently, just within the last 6 months or so, they brought it back for reapproval. So this was part of the conditions of them building that particular development, because there's a property line. As you can see, this is the existing property line in this area. So they would combine those two tracks with that. The RM portion, which is that northern portion, would remain undeveloped. Soils work has been completed. That was one of the big holdups for this. They were showing a soil area up here and one here. This one has been removed, and they are going to be utilizing this soil area here on the property. Applicant's also dedicating right-of-way along Jefferson Pike, which is why this is coming to you today. They're actually dedicating an additional 25 feet of right-of-way for 50 foot. This is supposed to be a 5-lane in the future. Those comments that we had several, but they have addressed those comments, and this plat does appear to be in good order, so we recommend approval.
The area that's labeled wet area, is that like a wetland?
I would believe it is. It's standing water. And I apologize, my regular GIS map is being a little squirrely this morning. But it is, I would say it's a standing water. And it probably most likely is classified as a wetlands.
So
Because it
that's an
stays
area-
wet year round.
So it's an area they'll leave undisturbed, or?
Yes, yes. There are buffers around it, and that's part of the reason they didn't want to use the soil area on the north side of this long tract, because they'd have to go around this wet area. It's a mini storage.
Mini warehouse.
Mini storage warehouse.
So where's the building envelope gonna be?
So you can hear
It's,
me.
okay.
I'll tell you what, let me try. See if I can't pull up the site. I'm gonna see if I can't pull up the site plan just real quick.
It's,
Submitted for, yeah.
Mini storage warehouse.
I don't remember if that was your last.
19 acres, commercial services.
Oops, no. Might need to fix that. Here it is. Okay, this is the site plan for that. Let me go to a different page.
We just didn't find that on our iPads.
Find what?
We
The
could,
site plan.
Oh, the site plan's
Oh,
not on there.
site
This is, I'm bringing this up. Yeah,
Okay.
the plat's on there, but not the site plan.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the site plan. This kind of shows you what they're proposing here, and there's.
Okay, this is the one that had the bridge over the,
Correct.
okay. I got
Correct.
you.
Okay.
I
So
remember
and
now.
it's all commercial services, no residential.
Well, this part of it's all commercial services down here. You can see the zone line right here.
Yeah.
See this little zone line? That is right here. So this part would remain undeveloped. This is the part that they want to develop with the mini warehouses. And it's only, as you can see from the site plan, you know, they're not going beyond that area. Yeah, they're not going beyond this area right here. This is pretty much where they're looking at right here. All right in this area.
But will you put that site plan back up?
Where did you
Want me to zoom into this a little bit?
I remember.
Some of this will need some fill material, a lot of it will need just material, bringing it out of the floodplain.
So Doug, with two different zonings on the property, in theory, it may be possible to put a house on that back little parcel, although the soil site, there's just not a lot of soil sites left. That soil site will be used for this.
That's correct. That's
storage,
correct.
for the offices, for the storage pot.
If there were enough soils for the office, for a primary and a backup, and then they wanted to put a house back there, that is something they could do. Now, that being said, when you look at the site plan,
It would have to be accessed through the.
correct, and you
storage
can see
pot.
as of right here, they're not providing any access right now, so I don't think that's really any intent that they've got. But, I mean, if they wanted to do that, they could extend a drive off of here or something, but
Which would be good.
I don't know how ideal that would really be.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve with staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 14-2067 for W.R. Thompson. Other questions or discussion? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6B2, The Springs, Section 1, item number 19-2030, 46 lots, 42 are residential on 41.3 acres zoned RM located along Armstrong Valley Road. Salem Creek Partnership is the applicant. Doug.
Yes, sir, thank you. The preliminary plan for this development was approved by the Planning Commission back in June of 2016. This plat is consistent with that preliminary approval. We did identify several issues during our initial review. Those comments have been addressed. We had some left over for the final review, but again, they've addressed all those. I will say that the kiosk, which we'll see a site plan for this later, is going to be on this lot right over here. You kind of see lot 21 is where this is. But the subdivision in and of itself, as far as the plat's concerned, is in good order, so we'd recommend approval.
Make the motion approved.
We have a motion and a second to approve 19. All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6B3,
Division, I won't go into all the specifics about the approvals and everything, as I've already did. Again, our comments have been addressed for this particular subdivision, so if there's questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. The plat's in good.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to staff comments.
we have a motion and a second to approve 19-2031, The Springs, Section 2. Any other questions? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6C, these are items submitted for site plan approval. 6C1, 19-3027, 12 Corners Mail Kiosk. New construction of mail kiosk site on approximately 1 acre, which is lot 131, a common area lot zoned RL, located along Saturday Drive. RHB is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, sir, thank you. We're to the mail kiosk portion of our agenda today, so we've got 3 to look at. The 12 Corners development, this was something that was, I mean, the subdivision itself has already been approved. This has come through us just within the last few months. The original design of this was using actually 90-degree spots pulling off of Saturday Drive. There wasn't a parking area per se, which we didn't like, but they've changed it to a parallel parking situation, which is much more preferable so the cars don't have to back out onto the road. We did have a number of comments on this. Those comments have been addressed. This plan is in good order, and we'd recommend approval of it. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Concrete paper.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 19-3027 12 Corners Mail Kiosk. Any other questions?
Trunk domes, yes, sir.
What is this?
Other questions?
Is this a sidewalk? What's the curvy line?
Running behind the kiosk?
That is silk fence.
No,
No,
oh,
behind
no,
that.
just a little more.
Oh, those are contour lines.
Just a contour line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Proposed contour lines. They'll have to fill a little bit in this stormwater detention area, but they have plenty of room to modify the pond.
Other questions? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6C2 19-3030, The Springs Mail Kiosk. New construction of mail kiosk site on approximately 12,000 square feet. This is Lot 21, a common area lot, zoned RM, located along Holly Springs Drive. Salem Creek Partnership is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, sir, thank you. Similar situation with this. We just saw these plats a little earlier on the agenda for sections 1 and 2. You can see here, as opposed to the parallel spots, they're actually providing a dedicated parking area and pull-out spots. Again, we had comments. Those comments have been addressed. One of the main outstanding one with this one, as well as the last one, I forgot to mention this, is that they do need to give us a photometric plan before issuing building permits. They're aware of that, and we won't issue them until we have that. So that's just something that they'll get taken care of before building permits. So beyond that, this plan's in good order.
I make a motion to approve with staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 19-3030, The Springs Mail Kiosk. Any other questions? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6C3 19-3031, Foxfire Meadows Mail Kiosk. New construction of mail kiosk site on approximately 7,000 square feet, Lot 372, common lot area, zoned RM, located along Olander Lane. Jones Construction Company is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, the circumstances behind this are similar for the last two that we just saw. They're having to kind of retrofit this into the subdivision. You can see what they did here. They also opted with a pull-out or a pull off-street parking area. We did have comments. Those have been addressed. They do need to submit a photometric plan for the lighting prior to building permits, but beyond that, this site plan's in good order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 19-3031, Foxfire Meadows Mail Kiosk. Any other questions? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. 6C4 19-3032, Rutherford County Emergency Tower, installation of a 180-foot lattice communications tower on 5.32 acres, zoned RL, located along South Main Street in Eagleville, Rutherford County. EMA is the applicant. Doug?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The applicant, as you stated, is proposing to construct a lattice-style communications tower. This was approved for special exception by the Board of Zoning Appeals back in April of this year. This tower was actually, along with the CUD tank, was actually supposed to be completely within the city of Eagleville's limits, but as it turns out, the tower is going to be within the county's jurisdiction. So they had already laid the foundation and everything on this before they realized it was in the county, so that's why they came to us for approval. The purpose is to fill coverage gaps in the county's radio system. They plan to hand 3 vertical antennas, 1 2x2 panel antenna, and 6-foot microwave dish. It allows for a more affordable method of communication than for paying high rent rates. This was from their Board of Zoning Appeal application. And again, you can see that there is an existing water tower there now. At the time this was approved by when the board looked at it, when these plans were originally submitted, I think the tank was there, but that you can kind of see that that's a CUD tank on that property. With that, staff really didn't have any other comments on this, so we would recommend approval.
Who owns that lot, Doug?
I believe CUD. Does it. Yeah, CUD owns it.
I'd like the motion approved. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve 19-3032 Rutherford County Emergency Tower. Other questions? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Motion to approve carries. Thank you. Anything, Doug?
Just a couple of things, just briefly. I wanted to kind of get your feedback on the way I've been laying out the agenda for the Plats and Plains meeting the last few months. I know we had some concerns and issues with the iPads, kind of, especially with the larger agendas and the larger files, kind of playing catch up. I've kind of separated the comments and then put the plans in their respective folders. Is that working okay for everybody, or would you rather I go back to the way it was being done, or just looking for a little feedback from the commission?
I thought the same thing this morning. I think it was faster this morning.
Okay. Okay, then I'll keep doing it that way. That's it. That's good. The other thing I wanted to say, well, actually a couple things. I know we had advertised for a training session today. Unfortunately, we weren't able to secure anybody. We have secured someone for next month. We have advertised it. We're going to continue the discussion on the distance for rock quarries, blasting and effects and things like that. So we'll be continuing that discussion at our next day meeting, which would be, was that June the 20? Sorry, I don't have my calendar on me.
June 24th.
That sounds right. Yeah, June the 24th. We'll do that at 7:30 in this room. We'll provide some refreshments for you. So I hope you all are able to make it.
Doug, can
Yes,
I ask
sir.
a favor?
Sir.
Will you resend the email you sent out last month with the quarry document in it?
With the report on it you're
Yeah,
talking about? Yes, sir. I
please.
can do that. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we've sent that to the folks that will be speaking and a copy of our regulations, so they'll be able to speak more specifically on our regulations. So it should be a pretty good discussion.
Who is it that's coming? Is somebody from the state or
Leanna Whitwell with TTL,
Oh, yeah.
is that?
geotechnical engineer, and she's bringing blasting experts with her.
Okay. Plastic.
Plastic caps.
Yeah, we're gonna play. We're gonna go
Here's
back.
one.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
One other thing, and this will be kind of, I don't know what kind of present you want to call this, but we only had one rezoning application submitted for our last deadline. Because the county commission doesn't meet in July, they're going to have to wait until August anyway. So I called the applicant just to see if they had any issues with just putting their application on hold until the July planning commission meeting. They were fine with that. So we have not advertised a June night meeting. The only meeting we will have in June is the day meeting. So
That's madness.
you're welcome.
So June 24th is the only meeting?
Correct,
Okay.
for June. Yes, sir.
Doug, I read a little something. There's some legislator shaking the waters about the kiosks.
And that's an
You know?
evening?
Yes, there was an article. Yes, there was an article in the Daily News Journal within the last week or so about a representative from the Knoxville area, a U.S. representative, taking some legislation to Congress about possibly changing those rules. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It had to do with allowing single-family subdivisions to still continue having a box, their own box out front, as opposed to a mail kiosk, centralized kiosk. we'll see where it goes. My contention for this has always been, I understand why the USPS is doing what they're doing. The implementation is what I always had issue with, so we'll see where it goes.
Caught in the middle, you're just
I
having a look.
was just about to say, these poor builders who got caught in the middle.
Well, we put kiosks in the middle, we put them in the front, we put them in the back, and 3 or 4 years, we'll know which one's right, I suppose.
Maybe.
We're doing all kinds of parking, there's parallel parking, pull-off
yeah.
parking.
We do want to make sure we ask those questions, you know, which is working for them, which is not working for them, and change accordingly.
Well, and we will do that, but that was one of the big reasons we didn't mandate a specific style. You know, we've seen the kind of the run of the mill. We've seen, like, even today, we saw 2 of them that were off-street parking areas. We saw one that was parallel.
Yeah.
So it just,
Parking lot.
yeah, it just depends. It's a lot easier, again, when you're able to plan it on the front end as opposed to having to go back and retrofit. So we'll see. But we didn't want to get so specific that we were taking away a developer's ability to be creative in how they addressed it. So, but that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Mike,
Thank you. So our June 10th, 6 p.m. meeting has been canceled.
Correct.
That will make our next meeting on the 24th. That'll be a Monday morning. Our regular meeting will start at 9 a.m. and our training session will start at 7:30 a.m. and Doug is going to provide the donuts. Whatever he says about refreshments is not correct. It'll be donuts.
Those are refreshing to me.
Before we adjourn, I'd just like to say that changing the agenda and other items like that are constant improvements to the way this commission operates and flows. And those of us that have been on this commission for a long time, Craig, will remember how unprepared at times prior staffs have been and how this commission was dysfunctional at times, and we've been constantly improving over the years. And your staff, Doug, and you, Mike, you're all so prepared that you make our job so much easier, and we appreciate you more than we can say. Your recommendations are pretty much spot on, even sometimes when you don't want to give them. We still use them as guidelines, so we appreciate all the work that you do.
I really think it's Gail behind the operation.
It is. It really is. Yeah,
We looks like we've got a couple of weeks off, and summer is more than here, as we've all been talking about the weather. It's probably not going to get any cooler, so do the best you can to enjoy your summer, and we'll see you on the 24th. We're adjourned.